What's going on, everybody? Tim from Tearfon Orbital here. We go with another Dark Saber video, but this is going to be a little different. Okay, This is it's a swap. It's started off as an Electrum swap that I had the intention of selling. I was just going to put a Proffie in it and sell it. But I really like this hilt. So I'm going to keep it probably. But I do want to go over what I did with the build, and I also want to take a chance to talk about Electrum sabers. I've been meaning to do a video about Electrum for a little while. This is going to kind of bleed into like an op-ed or an opinion video. So I just want to preface this by saying that this is in no way a dig to Dave, the owner of Electrum, or their process. Maybe a little bit their process, but it's in no way a dig at Dave. I mean, I'll go over this in my little review, but I like their customer service is top notch. Top notch. They're the epitome. Excuse me. They're the epitome of Canadian. I mean, Dave is incredibly polite, great guy. It's just their soundboards that are unacceptable to me. So I just want to preface by saying that. So all I'm going to do is just talk about my personal experience with Electrum, and then we'll talk about the hilt, if that's okay with everybody. Electrum Sabercrafts. When I first saw the Evo Flex, fell in love with it. Truth be told, the Evo Flex was my first full custom lightsaber. It was the first hilt that I ever got. When I first saw the pictures of the Evo, I knew that I wanted that. I wanted a very unique looking hilt. I didn't want a strictly Canon hilt. I wanted to have this Evo Flex. I loved it. I loved the look of this hilt. The fact that it had an animated blade, that was great. I was sold, unfortunately. Did not do a significant amount of research on the D3 board. I got my Electrum hilt. I waited for it. I got my Evo, full battle scarring, weathered, and I finally got it, and I was over the moon that first day. As I started using this hilt, I became very upset with the performance of the soundboard, but also some other things. Like when I first got the hilt, the speaker, I still keep some of this stuff. So when I first got the hilt, not only was the soundboard underwhelming, there was some other stuff that was wrong with my hilt. Okay, so I guess Electrum did a modular swap of their speakers at some point. So rather than change the housing design, they added these like little modular speaker holders, and they had these pancake speakers. Okay, which here's my first gripe. Okay, you're spending upwards of $600, $700, $800 on a hilt, and you're giving people this 24mm pancake speaker. Okay. And they put it in this modular speaker holder. Now this came to me, and when I got the hilt, this was loose. So as soon as I took off my grip, this entire speaker housing popped off. And I could never get it back in the right way. No matter how many times I tried to bend these forks out, it just never went in. So I had to be careful every time I took my grip off, which I was doing a lot of. Second gripe, the blade that I ordered with Electrum was super wobbly. Like the inside of the NeoPixel, like the NeoPixel strips were not padded enough, so you could hear it wobbling when you swung it around. Okay, now before I go any further, I need to say again, customer service with Electrum was fantastic. I told them about the blade issue. They sent me a replacement blade free of charge, like before even having to send the old one back. Dave and his people got one in the mail and they got it to me. That was great. I appreciated that. They tried troubleshooting this piece with me, the speaker thing, and nothing ever came of it. Okay, which fine, whatever. It was just something I had to deal with when taking the grip off. You know, whatever. I'll deal with it. The board. I've got to talk about this board. So adding sound fonts to the D3 board was a pain for me. Getting the D3 soundboard to work seamlessly was a pain for me. It was just, you know, if it was playing fonts correctly, that was fine. But there were random crashes of the board, like crashes, like the board would just shut off. There were points where I would power up the board and get an annoying, like the board would scream at me, just like a glitchy noise that wouldn't stop until I took the, hit the kill switch, unscrewed the grip, hit the kill switch, turned it off, rebooted it. It was never ever a seamless experience. The kind of experience that I'm used to with, high-end soundboards. Even Golden Harvest, I've never had issues like I did with the D3 board. Having Bluetooth connectivity, sure, that's great. Being able to change color on the fly, that's great too. But the fact that I spent that much money on a hilt and I can't use it, or when I do go to use it, it works half the time, in my opinion, it left such a bad taste in my mouth. I mean, it really, really did. You spend that much money on a quality product, and just like if you're going out and you're at a con, and I want to show off this rad blade that I got, and it just doesn't work. Like you're in front of a crowd of people, and now you're standing with this hilt that's, you got to unscrew the grip, turn it off. What's going on? Why want to connect to my phone? Or you're, say, at a party, and you're showing your blade off to family and friends, and it's just, let me show you this awesome blade. Let me show you this awesome lightsaber, and you go to ignite it, and it just doesn't ignite, or it screams at you. It's just, it was a very underwhelming experience, especially because I had spent a good amount of money on this hilt, right? It was a fully battle scarred blade, custom clamp card, the whole nine. I think it was not a cheap hilt, but definitely a cheap experience with the board, in my opinion. So I still have the board. So I took that hilt that I got, that I spent hundreds of dollars on. I had it for 2 weeks, and I got so fed up with it that I gutted it immediately. And I put a Proffie, and I designed my own chassis and put a Proffie in it. And it's a great hilt. It's a great looking hilt. And that's, in my opinion, my humble opinion, that is all that Electrum has going for them right now, are beautiful hilts. And you hear it time and time again now. At this point, the D3 board is 2 years out of date, especially compared with the soundboards that we're used to and are on the market now. Okay, the D3 board, I've done some research into the hardware and the chips that are on this board. They're just not even comparable to Proffie. You've got a board that you want to have always on Bluetooth connectivity. You want to have it be able to handle smooth swing. You want to have it be able to handle multiple blade animations. If you're doing all of that with a chip that is a 16-bit chip on a board, or however, I'm pretty sure this is a 16-bit chip, whereas a Proffie is a 32-bit. You're never going to get the kind of performance that you are advertising, in my opinion. And you could tell people all day long that it's a software issue. It's a software issue. We've been told that it's a software issue for 2 years, and after a couple of beta software releases, it's just still not a reliable board, in my opinion. So if you couldn't tell, I still have a chip on my shoulder from my Electrum purchase 2 years ago. That being said, Electrum sabers can work for you if you put a good soundboard in them, and that's what I did with this dark saber. So, Rant over Razor. So this is an Ebon Razor from Electrum. It is a dark sword themed hilt. Again, typical with Electrum hilts. They're fantastic. I mean, they're beautiful hilts. Wonderful machining, lots of great detail. This, I think, so I got this used on eBay. Actually, I snagged this on eBay. It was already empty. So my intention was to just buy it and throw a Proffie and a chassis in it and then resell it. But I've fallen in love with this hilt. I really like it. Electrum hilts are great. I mean, look at the Evo is this is just such a great looking hilt. And when you get it battle scarred, it's rad. It looks so good. It looks so good. The board, however, is absolute trash. So I put a Proffie in this Ebon Razor. It's a removable Proffie setup. So I did do some minor modifications to the body and the clamp card. So the grip comes off. Luckily for me, I mean, look at this. Look at the inner grip. I mean, this is just fantastic craftsmanship. It's just really, really beautiful. It sucks that they have to put such... Anyway, so I mean, just look at that. Beautiful, just beautiful routing around the grip. So these vents were already cut out. So I utilized that. I put some onboard neos on the chassis, so we have some shine through when the chassis is in. I got the hilt with a gaping hole where the Electrum switch box was, or Electrum clamp card. So what I ended up doing was I had a Slothfurnace clamp card lying around, and what I like about this version of Brad's clamps is this one is translucent. It's got some windows here, so I put 2 LEDs underneath this clamp card. I think I've got a blue, regular solid blue, and a blinking blue in this circular area. 2 brass tactile switches, and I've got like another chassis underneath all of this that holds the PCB connector and the blade PCB, right? And that's it. Really, really simple design. So I wanted to do a removable setup for this. So this is what I ended up with. Let's actually talk about my chassis here. So here's the chassis that I designed in Fusion. I kept it really, really simple. I wanted a quick turnaround time on this install because, like I said, my intention was to install it and sell it, but I'm going to keep it. It's mine now. So really simple design. I just put some ridges on the outside of the chassis, 24mm speaker. I did put Tearphone Orbital and Mandalorian text here. Proffie board sits here, and that's really it. So what I did do is create an indentation on the chassis itself because I wanted to put NeoPixels on the inside of it so I could get some shine through on the hilt, like I mentioned. So I printed this off in translucent resin, okay, and then taped off, masked off this window, did a pass with Tamiya black matte spray paint, and then took that masking off, and then let's come back down. So that's where. So yeah, I'll show the Neos really quick.
You were right about one thing, Master. So the negotiations were short.
The onboard Neo is really simple to shine through on the hilt when you put the chassis in, like so. Okay. And there's that lit Slothfurnace. Sorry, it's probably really loud. I always point the hilt at the microphone, the speaker at the microphone. So there's that Slothfurnace clamp. So I actually did also have to make a modification to the grip. Okay, because my clamp card sits a little bit higher than the Electrum stock clamp card, I did have to make some modifications to this, as well as those tactiles. They sit up a little bit, right? So I had to make I had to route a little bit of a hole right here to slide past those tactile switches. Okay, and it slides all the way up. Timing is all right, so once you get the grip in, it pushes the chassis up into those pins, and we tighten our set screw. Okay, and that's it. So let's come down. So that's it. Nice, simple setup. I'm not going to put a blade in it today. I might get a small ripper blade. I might have Devin Clark make me something with a 1-inch stem that I can use with this. But there's the Slothfurnace. But there's that Slothfurnace clamp that's lit. One of these blinks. It's like a flash, and the other is just a solid blue. And that's it. Nice and simple setup. Actually, this install went really quickly. I did 2 dark sabers in one day, so I unlocked an achievement for myself by doing 2 dark sabers in one day. Listen, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope I didn't ramble too much. I've been meaning to like do a review and an op-ed on Electrum. They left such a bad taste in my mouth. And again, it's got nothing to do with Dave as a human. Dave is super, like I mean, I've had some interaction with Dave. He's a super polite guy, very Canadian, and I'm sure he's trying his best with what he's got. But unfortunately, what he's got is a board, in my opinion, that is just out of date. And and as the hobby progresses, it's just going to get further and further out of date, in my opinion, unless you start getting some like solid component upgrades on the board itself, not a software update. But again, look, I am not a developer, right? I'm not a software developer, okay? But when you're saying you're now 2 years into developing an app that can be done wherever, I don't know. So yeah, so that's all I got, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. And with that being said, may the Proffie be with you always.